A cruise missile is a guided missile used against terrestrial targets, that remains in the atmosphere and flies the major portion of its flight path at approximately constant speed. Cruise missiles are designed to deliver a large warhead over long distances with high precision. Modern cruise missiles are capable of traveling at supersonic or high subsonic speeds, are self-navigating, and are able to fly on a non-ballistic, extremely low-altitude trajectory. The idea of an aerial torpedo was shown in the British 1909 film The Airship Destroyer, where flying torpedoes controlled wirelessly are used to bring down airships bombing London. In 1916, American aviator Lawrence Sperry built and patented an aerial torpedo, the Hewitt Sperry automatic airplane, a small biplane carrying a TNT charge, a Sperry autopilot and a barometric altitude control. Inspired by these experiments, the United States Army developed a similar flying bomb called the Kettering Bug. Germany had also flown trials with remote-controlled aerial gliders, Torpedo-Gleiter, built by Siemens Schuckert beginning in 1916. In the period between the World Wars, the UK developed the Larynx, long-range gun with Lynx engine, which underwent a few flight tests in the 1920s. In the Soviet Union, Sergei Korolev headed the Gerd-06 cruise missile project from 1932 to 1939, which used a rocket-powered boost glide bomb design. The 06/3, RP-216, and 06/4, RP-212, contained gyroscopic guidance systems. 4. The vehicle was designed to boost to 28 km altitude and glide a distance of 280 km, but test flights in 1934 and 1936 only reached an altitude of 500 meters. In 1944, Germany deployed the first operational cruise missiles in World War II. The V-1, often called a flying bomb, contained a gyroscope guidance system and was propelled by a simple pulse jet engine, the sound of which gave it the nickname of buzz bomb or doodlebug. Accuracy was sufficient only for use against very large targets, the general area of a city, while the range of 250 kilometers was significantly lower than that of a bomber carrying the same payload. The main advantages were speed, although not sufficient to outperform contemporary propeller-driven interceptors, and expendability. The production cost of a V-1 was only a small fraction of that of a V-2 supersonic ballistic missile, carrying a similar-sized warhead. Unlike the V-2, the initial deployments of the V-1 required stationary launch ramps which were susceptible to bombardment. Nazi Germany, in 1943, also developed the Mistel composite aircraft program, which can be seen as a rudimentary air-launched cruise missile, where a piloted fighter-type aircraft was mounted atop an unpiloted bomber-sized aircraft that was packed with explosives to be released while approaching the target. Bomber-launched variants of the V-1 saw limited operational service near the end of the war, with the pioneering V-1's design reverse-engineered by the Americans as the Republic 4J V-2 cruise missile. Immediately after the war, the United States Air Force had 21 different guided missile projects, including would-be cruise missiles. All but 4 were cancelled by 1948, the Air Materiel Command Banshee, the SM-62 Snark, the SM-64 Navajo, and the MGM-1 Matador. The Banshee design was similar to Operation Aphrodite. Like Aphrodite, it failed, and was cancelled in April 1949. Concurrently, the U.S. Navy's Operation Bumblebee was conducted at Topsail Island, North Carolina, from circa June 1, 1946, to July 28, 1948. Operation Bumblebee produced proof-of-concept technologies that influenced the U.S. military's other missile projects. During the Cold War period, both the United States and the Soviet Union experimented further with the concept, deploying early cruise missiles from land, submarines and aircraft. The main outcome of the United States Navy submarine missile project was the SSN-8 Regulus missile, based upon the V-1. The United States Air Force's first operational surface-to-surface missile was the winged, mobile, nuclear-capable MGM-1 Matador, also similar in concept to the V-1. Deployment overseas began in 1954, first to West Germany and later to the Republic of China, Taiwan, and South Korea. On November 7, 1956, U.S. Air Force deployed Matador units in West Germany, whose missiles were capable of striking targets in the Warsaw Pact, from their fixed day-to-day sites to unannounced dispersed launch locations. This alert was in response to the crisis posed by the Soviet attack on Hungary, which suppressed the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. Between 1957 and 1961, the United States followed an ambitious and well-funded program to develop a nuclear-powered cruise missile, Supersonic Low-Altitude Missile, SLAM. It was designed to fly below the enemy's radar at speeds above Mach 3 and carry hydrogen bombs that it would drop along its path over enemy territory. Although the concept was proven sound and the 500-megawatt engine finished a successful test run in 1961, no airworthy device was ever completed. The project was finally abandoned in favor of ICBM development. While ballistic missiles were the preferred weapons for land targets, heavy nuclear and conventional weapon-tipped cruise missiles were seen by the USSR as a primary weapon to destroy United States naval carrier battle groups. Large submarines, for example, Echo and Oscar classes, were developed to carry these weapons and shadow United States battle groups at sea, and large bombers, for example, Backfire, Bear, and Blackjack models, were equipped with the weapons in their air-launched cruise missile, ALCM, configuration.